by sharing with you a story. I heard this story told by the speaker T.D. Jakes about a little boy out in the Midwest who wanted to see an eagle fly. So he gets a pair of binoculars and he goes out to a large open field and he's watching and finally he spots an eagle. And the eagle is flying higher and higher and higher. Then all of a sudden the eagle stops in midair. It begins to fall and flap and fall and flap and fall and flap. Finally it disappears out of sight. The little boy says to himself, what happened to the eagle? Did someone shoot the eagle? I didn't hear a gun. And the little boy walked for about a mile in order to find where the eagle had landed. And finally he found the eagle. The eagle is laid down, nose in the dirt. The eagle is dead. The little boy says to himself, what killed the eagle? The little boy turns the eagle over, and there, affixed to the eagle's chest, is a weasel, a little animal. And the weasel has bitten into the heart of the eagle. And the little boy says to himself, now I see what happened to the eagle. The eagle had picked up a weasel and did not let it go. And that's very symbolic to our lives. Because every single day of our lives, we all pick up weasels. And weasels come in many different forms. There are weasels in the form of negative thoughts, weasels in the form of bad habits, weasels in the form of unhealthy addictions, weasels in the form of fears and worries and stress and frustration and anger and insecurities. We all pick up weasels. And if we don't drop the weasel will drop us. Holler, you hear me? Drop the weasels. Let go of the weasels. Let go of things that are trying to eat at you. Let go of things that are trying to separate you from your source of peace and joy. Let them go. Because either you drop them or they will drop you. And I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. Because in this presentation, I'm going to share with you some tips that we all can use to drop the weasels and fly like an eagle. And as you listen to this presentation, whenever you hear a quote that you like, please write it down on your piece of paper labeled notes. Whenever you hear a quote that you like, please write it down on your piece of paper labeled notes, because that's very important. Because towards the end of this presentation, we're going to do an activity, and each person is going to need to have a list of their favorite quotes written down on their notes piece of paper. Now, I'd like to share with you something very personal. And I used to be very embarrassed about this, but no longer am I embarrassed about it, so I want to share it with you. You see, although I am a professional, right, I graduated from college with a degree in accounting, became a CPA, a certified public accountant, right? Although I am a professional, I'm still in the process of overcoming reading challenges. I had severe reading problems when I was growing up. And although things have improved, I'm still in the process of overcoming reading challenges. And I'm not embarrassed to admit it, because I realize that in order to overcome a problem, we must embrace the struggle. Holler, you hear me? Yeah. So I embrace my struggles, and I realize it's okay if some people look down on me. It's okay if some people think of me as being a little slow or dumb. It's okay, because I realize now that other people's opinions of me do not have to become my reality. I realize now that my value as a human being always stays the same, regardless of how other people treat me. To really make this point clear, let me share with you this illustration. How much is this worth? $1. But what if I take this dollar bill and crumble it up and throw it on the floor and stomp on it? How much is it worth now? It's still worth $1. Regardless of how I just treated this dollar bill, its value stayed the same. I crumbled it up, I threw it on the floor, I stomped on it, I put dirt on it, but yet its value stayed the same. And the same thing goes with you, me, and all of the human beings. Regardless of how other people treat us, regardless of what other people think about us or say about us or do to us, regardless of whatever happens to us in our lives, our value does not change, because our value is something the world did not give to us. And so therefore it's something that the world cannot take away. Holler, you hear me? Yeah. It's amazing how just by changing our perspective, our whole life changes. Even a small shift in your perspective makes a huge change in your life. To really make this point clear, let's do this group activity. This will blow your mind. Everyone, take your right index finger, point it straight up towards the ceiling. It has to be above your head. Now, look up at the ceiling and imagine that on the ceiling there's a clock face. Now, rotate your finger in a clockwise motion. Go clockwise, clockwise motion, clockwise motion. Now, continue that same motion, but now bring your arm down, all the way down, all the way down, all the way down, so it's below your chin. So you're looking down at your finger. And realize now, you're no longer going clockwise. You're now going counterclockwise, aren't you? Isn't that cool? Let's try that again. Clockwise motion, clockwise motion. And bring your arm all the way down, all the way down. And realize now you're going counterclockwise. Wow. So somebody tell me, our finger did not change and the motion of our finger did not change. What was the only thing that changed? Our perspective. And whenever we change our perspective, our whole life changes. So here's the message, here's the lesson, here's the point. Whenever you are feeling depressed about anything, always ask yourself, what else can this mean? What else can this mean? What's another perspective in which I can view this situation? What's another way in which I can look at this circumstance? What else can this mean? I guarantee you, asking yourself that question is a very useful tool that can help us to rise above depression whenever we're feeling depressed. It's a very useful tool that can help us to manage our emotions well. Whenever you are feeling depressed about anything, always ask yourself, what else can this mean? Is this the end or is this the beginning? It's all a matter of perspective. Am I being punished or am I being rewarded? It's all a matter of perspective. Is this a problem or is this a personal development exercise that is designed to prepare me to achieve my purpose and my destiny in life? It's all a matter of perspective. Holler if you hear me. Yes, problems are just personal development exercises that are designed to prepare us to achieve our purpose and our destiny in life. You know, as I think back over my childhood, I realize I'm grateful for my bullies because my bullies strengthened me and prepared me to achieve my purpose and my destiny in life. The emotional abuse that they put me through was really a gift. It tore me down for a moment, but over time it built me up like gold, purified through fire. Holler, do you hear me? Yeah. To really make this point clear, let me share with you this story. It's a story about a water carrier who had two large pots. Each hung on the ends of a pole which he carried across his neck. One of the pots had a crack in it, while the other pot was perfect. Each day at the end of the long walk from the water stream back to the house, the perfect pot always delivered a full portion of water. But the broken pot always delivered only half a pot of water. Because the other half of its water would always leak out through the crack that was in its side all the way back to the house. And this continued on for years. And of course, the perfect pot felt proud of itself. Felt like a high achiever. It felt successful, had very high self-esteem. It felt good about itself. But the broken pot felt ashamed of itself and felt miserable. And one day by the water stream, the broken pot spoke out to the water carrier and said, I'm ashamed of myself. Because this crack in my side, it causes water to leak out all the way back to your house. I'm no good. I'm inferior. I've been broken. I've been broken by some things that have happened to me in the past. You see, I've been through some bad experiences that have hurt me so much, and now I have all these insecurities, I have all of these issues that are holding me down and holding me back, and I'll never be able to succeed. I'm sick, and I'll never be made well. So you should just destroy me because my life has no meaning and no purpose. And then the water carrier responded to the broken pot and said, did you notice that there were flowers only along your side of the path and not along the other pot's side? That is because I've always known about your flaw. And I planted flower seeds all along your side of the path. And each day as we walk back from the water stream, the water that leaks out through the crack in your side waters these flowers. And for years now, I've been able to pick these beautiful flowers to make the world a more beautiful place. Without you being just the way you are, there would not be this beauty to grace the world. I love that story because it's a reminder to me that even the cracks in my life are there for a reason. Even the cracks in my life, even the flaws and the imperfections and the challenges and the struggles and the obstacles and the confusion and the frustration and the fears and the insecurities, even the cracks in my life are there for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. Although often we don't understand what that reason is as we're going through the process. But one day we will be able to look back and clearly understand that it was all part of a beautiful plan. One day we will be able to look back and see the bigger picture. And there's always a bigger picture. There's always a bigger picture. Everything that goes on in your life, it's all part of a bigger picture. But one of the most challenging things about life is that often you can't see the picture because you're standing in the frame. Holler if you hear me. Yeah. Often in life, you can't see the picture because you're standing in the frame. But one day we will be able to look back and clearly see the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is a beautiful picture. To really make this point clear, let me share with you another story. This is a true story, true story. There was a lady running late for work one morning, all because of her daughter taking too long to get ready for school. Now, I can imagine she was feeling very angry and frustrated at her daughter for making her late for work. I imagine she was feeling very disappointed that she was going to have to arrive at work late this morning, all because of her daughter taking too long to get ready for school. But when she arrived at work that morning, she realized that on this particular morning, it was a very good thing that she arrived late to work. Because this morning was Tuesday morning, September the 11th, 2001, and this lady worked in the World Trade Center. If it had not been for her daughter who made her late for work, she would have been in the building when the planes hit. It's amazing how really our problems are really blessings in disguise. Holler if you hear me. I'll take questions at the end. Save the question for the end. Here's the thing. It's amazing how our problems are blessings in disguise. The things that we think are so bad, it's amazing how they can be blessings in disguise. To really make this point clear, I'd like to share with you a very personal story that really illustrates this message. When I was in high school, for a while during my high school years, I became very depressed. And the reason why I became so depressed was because there was this girl who I liked who did not like me back. And it really broke my heart because I felt as though she was my soulmate. I felt like we were made for each other. In fact, every time I'd see her in the hallways, I would feel a little hypnotized. You know that feeling you get when you see someone that you have a crush on? It's like that high feeling. You know what I'm talking about? That high feeling? That's what I felt. Every time I'd see her, I felt that high feeling. And that high feeling was so intense, the attraction was so strong, that I thought that it was a sign that this was true love. I thought that we were soulmates. And so when she rejected me, I felt as though my heart split in half and I became very depressed. But an interesting thing happened. As time went by, and as I grew older and more mature, I began to look back over that experience, and I began to see something that I never saw previously. You see, it wasn't until later on in my life, as I was looking back over my teenage years, that I began to realize that when I was a teenager, I was very immature. And if I would have gotten into a relationship with that girl at that time, because of my immaturity, I would have ended up making some bad decisions. I would have ended up giving in to certain temptations. I would have ended up making some bad choices that would have caused a lot of pain in my life. The same pain I see going on in the lives of a lot of people. Because you see, I didn't realize it at the time, but looking back, I realized that she would have had a very negative impact on me. Because this girl was involved with some very unhealthy things, like drugs and alcohol. But you see, I was so very sexually attracted to her. I was so very hypnotized. I was so very infatuated that I overlooked the fact that she was involved with these unhealthy things. It's amazing how physical attraction clouds judgment. Holler if you hear me. Yeah. Have you noticed that? Physical attraction clouds judgment. Have you noticed that when you become very physically attracted to someone, it clouds your judgment. So you have to be very careful. Be very careful about the choices that you make when you're under the influence of infatuation, sexual attraction. It's amazing. It's amazing how strong those emotions can be. So we have to be very careful. Be very careful. Be careful what you wish for. Because things are not always what they seem to be. Be very careful what you wish for. Because often in life, the things that look good to us are not good for us. Holler if you hear me. Very often in life, the things that look good to us are not good for us. Things are not always what they seem to be. In fact, very often, have you noticed this? Very often, even poison is wrapped in beautiful wrapping paper. Holler if you hear me. Yeah. Very often in life, even poison is wrapped in beautiful wrapping paper. So do not follow your heart, lead your heart. Do not follow your heart, lead your heart. What I mean by that is do not blindly follow your heart. Of course you want to follow your passion and your purpose and your calling and your dreams and aspirations in life, right? But do not blindly follow your heart. Because there are times in life in which even your own heart will try to deceive you. There are times in life in which even your own heart will try to lead you down the wrong path. In other words, what I'm saying is this. Do not live your life based on your emotions. Live your life based on your principles. Wise principles. Because have you noticed that your emotions are not steady? Your emotions are not reliable. In many situations, your emotions can get you into a lot of trouble. Holler if you hear me. Have you noticed that? Your emotions can get you into a lot of trouble. So do not live your life based on your emotions. Live your life based on your principles, wise principles. See, over the years, I've come to realize that just because you become very physically attracted to someone doesn't necessarily mean that they are a good fit for you. Holler if you hear me. Right? Also, I realized that a relationship that is based solely on physical attraction and romantic desires will last only as long as the feelings last. Holler if you hear me. It's amazing. See, we live in a world, our culture is so very visual. And it's sad because often we will overlook the diamond in the paper bag because we're so infatuated by the rock that's in the Tiffany box. Holler if you hear me. So always, always look deeper. Always look deeper. So now, changing the subject a little bit, you know, when I was growing up, I tried to play various sports. Basketball, football, track. And I was terrible at all of them. And although many of the spectators would look down on me and or feel sorry for me, I never felt embarrassed or ashamed. Because among all the spectators, there was one spectator, my dad, who was always in the stands, watching and sincerely happy to see that I was doing my best. You see, over and over and over again, Dad taught me the concept that as long as you have done your best, then you have won. So despite the lack of sincere encouragement from team members and other spectators, I remain encouraged and inspired and motivated, enthusiastic about getting on the playing field and doing my best. You see, Dad instilled within me an unshakable courage to try. And that courage to try has helped me to go much further than I ever thought I could go. I was labeled a slow learner when I was in school. But yet I kept studying and I became a professional. I was picked on by bullies, but I kept feeding my faith. And over time, those experiences started to build me up rather than tear me down. I was considered to be ugly when I was a teenager because of all the pimples I had. When I was a teenager, I had a severe case of acne. Acne all over my face as well as my back. And I was considered to be ugly. But I kept admiring my inner beauty. I kept appreciating my inner beauty. And over time, I began to realize that it really doesn't matter what other people call you. What really matters is what you call yourself. Because what other people think about you is not important. But what you think about yourself means everything. Because think about this. Think about this. Technically, other people's words can never harm you. Technically, right? Technically, other people's words can never harm you. But it's your own words that can kill you. Holler if you hear me. Other people's words can never ever harm you, but it's your own words that can kill you. So really, it's your own words, your own thoughts that you have to really guard and protect. It's your own words, your own thoughts that you have to really monitor and be very careful about. Because other people's words, other people's thoughts can never harm you, but it's your own words, your own thoughts that can kill you. There's an old African saying that goes, if there is no enemy on the inside, then the enemies on the outside cannot harm you. If there is no enemy on the inside, then the enemies on the outside cannot harm you. So therefore, as long as we maintain positive, healthy emotions on the inside, then the negativity that surrounds us cannot touch us. So I know that Dad's legacy will always be in my heart. And wherever I go, wherever I am, I know that Dad is always in the stands. Dad's legacy is very similar to a quote by Theodore Roosevelt. Theodore Roosevelt once said, "It is not the critic who counts, nor the man who points out how the strong man stumbled, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes short again and again, who knows the great enthusiasms, great devotions, and spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst at least fails while daring greatly, so that he shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat." I love that quote because it's a reminder to me that my victory has already been won. I'm already successful. I became successful the moment that I decided to get into the arena and do my best. As Rocky Balboa said in the movie Rocky, "I just want to go the distance." And if you remember in Rocky Part 1, Rocky did not win, but he went the distance. And he proved that real success is not about winning. Real success is about having the courage to try. Having the courage to get on the playing field. Having the courage to step on the stage. Having the courage to step outside of your comfort zone. You see the walls of your comfort zone? They make you feel safe. But really, those same walls are separating you from your dream. In order to achieve your dream in life, you must have the courage to step outside of your comfort zone. Never be afraid of failure. Never be afraid of failure. Because really, failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of the pathway to success. Holler, you hear me?
Yeah.
Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of the pathway to success. And have you noticed, the people who achieve the most in life, are not necessarily those who are the most gifted and talented, but rather the people who achieve the most in life are those who are not afraid to try. They're not afraid to look silly. They're not afraid to fall down. They're not afraid to step outside of their comfort zone. You know, it really doesn't matter what's on the scoreboard. It really doesn't matter how other people evaluate us. What really matters is that we always have the courage to try. Because your greatest dreams are on the other side of fear. Holler if you hear me. To really make this point clear, let me share with you this song. Check out this song. Check out this song. Michael Jordan once said, "I failed over and over and over again, and that is why I have succeeded." I love that quote because I realized what I learned in my valleys helps me get to my mountaintops. In fact, I wouldn't be at this mountaintop if I didn't have my valleys. I wasn't popular at all when I was in school. It was hard walking down the hall, felt like a fool. Kids can be so cruel when somebody's different. The guys called me names and the girls stayed distant. I had a little stutter and I didn't learn fast. Butterflies in my stomach every day in class. I felt bad because I had love inside, but nobody took the time to ever know I was a nice guy. All the names calling tore me down, but I didn't know then it would mold me. Now it doesn't kill you, builds you pound for pound. My endurance allows me to go round for round. Now I'm a heavyweight now. See the passion in my eyes when you overcome pain. It's no surprise. Grateful for the bullies in my life. You know why? While they tried to break me down, I was learning to survive. Guys on my team thought that I was a dork. I admit I wasn't good, but I tried my best. That's all that really mattered, so I didn't stress. Because my dad was in the bleachers, cheering me on. So no bullying this world could ever do me harm. Even when the spectators were haters, I stayed strong. Had a real bond that helped me go on. When I messed up, I confessed, I respect that. Everybody's gonna make mistakes, so expect that. It's all about learning from the trips and the stumbles. Never get discouraged. Always stay humble. The only real losers never enter the arena. Criticize how you play, but in the game you never see them. I just want to do my best. And in my dad's eyes, won the race because I know how to survive. I have a question for you. How many of you saw me fall down? You saw me fall. You saw me fall down. You saw me fall. You saw me fall down. But also you saw how I immediately got back up again and continued dancing. That there is a very powerful illustration of a very profound life principle. In life, we all fall down from time to time. Because no one is perfect. We all fall down. Because as human beings, we each have our own unique set of flaws and imperfections and weaknesses. Holler if you hear me. Right? Every single person has their own unique set of flaws, imperfections, and weaknesses. And of course, what makes it very interesting is that some people's flaws are more visible than other people's flaws. Have you noticed that? Some people have flaws that are very visible. Other people have flaws that are very well hidden. But every single person has their own unique set of flaws, imperfections, and weaknesses. And so therefore, every single person, from time to time, we all fall down. But only the winners keep getting back up again. Holler if you hear me. Only the winners realize that we can always start over again, no matter what has happened in the past. Now, of course, we do have to face the consequences of our behavior. And our behavior always has consequences. But it's never too late to start over again. It's never too late to press the reset button. Did you know that in life, there is a reset button? Unfortunately, there is no rewind button. There is no redo button. But there is a reset button. And it's never too late to press the reset button. No matter how far you've gone wrong, it's never too late to press the reset button and start completely over again. Holler if you hear me. Yeah. The winners are those that realize that the past does not equal the future. Our biography does not have to become our destiny. And so therefore we do not have to live in the past. In fact, it's very unhealthy to live in the past. Because if you live in the past, you die in the present. Holler if you hear me. Yeah. If you live in the past, you die in the present. If you're holding on to the baggage of the past, you'll never be able to fully embrace the present moment. We must let go of the baggage of the past, but always hold on to the lessons that we've learned from the past. And that's a very key point. Because good judgment comes from experience, and experience often comes from bad judgment. So as long as we always learn from our mistakes, then even our mistakes will become part of the process of our ultimate success. Holler if you hear me. Yeah. I get so excited because this material is so real. Let go of the baggage of the past. Hold on to the lesson that you've learned and move forward. Move forward. Every time you fall, pick up only the lesson and move forward. This is so very important because in life, all of us have to become one of three things: a potato, an egg, or a coffee bean. If you place a potato in the hot boiling water, the hot water will change the potato into becoming soft, right? You place an egg in the hot boiling water. The hot water will change the inside of the egg into becoming hard, right? But if you place a coffee bean into hot boiling water, the hot water will not change the coffee bean, but rather the coffee bean will change the hot water. So likewise, as we go through hot water in our lives, meaning as we go through problems and struggles and challenges and obstacles and disappointments and fears and worries and stress and frustration and anxiety, as we go through hot water in our lives, we do not have to allow the hot water to change us into something hard and angry, nor soft and weak, but rather we can change the hot water into opportunities to learn and grow stronger, because really every struggle, every challenge, every form of hot water is really an opportunity to learn and grow stronger. Because remember, our problems are just personal development exercises that are designed to prepare us to achieve our purpose and our destiny in life. Our problems are really blessings in disguise. You know, if I had to summarize this whole program into one sentence, it would be this. Turn your problems into power. Holler if you hear me. Yeah. Turn your problems into power by controlling the perspectives in which you view the situations of your life. You can turn the problems into power. You know, it's amazing how it's all a mind game, right? Your emotions are really based not on the reality, not on the events, not on the circumstances, but rather your emotions are really based on your perspective. And there's always more than one perspective, right? Like we did with the clock face thing. There's always more than one perspective. Always more than one way to look at something. And so by training our minds to always choose the positive perspective, it puts us in a position where we can turn the problems into power. We can take the adversity of our lives and use it as our advantage. We can take the scars and turn it into our strength. Now, of course, these things are easier said than done. And that's why my next point is the most important point of all. Please always remember this. Always stay connected to the source of strength. Always stay connected to the source of strength. Now listen, I'm not here trying to tell you what to believe spiritually, but I am here trying to tell you this. Always stay connected to the source of strength. Always take time to do things that will strengthen your values and your faith and your beliefs. Because connected to the source of strength, you will have the power to drop the weasels and fly like an eagle. Holler if you hear me. Yeah.